have turned your shoe drawing into me that has lines, designs, and patterns. I've scanned it, and then I've sent it to you as a message in Canvas in your inbox. So you should find in your inbox a message from me, and it will say shoe or some other message, and then it will have an attachment. To get that shoe image that I scanned to your computer, you need to just click on that shoe and it will download it. And now we need to go and find where that is located. That is located if you click on your hard drive, and yours will say student, I believe. Mine says staff member, but click on the one that has the little house. Then you'll click on downloads, and that's where it should be. So let's just remember that that is where that is so we can get to it. Now, what we need to do is we need to start a Photoshop document. Photoshop is the blue box that has a PS in it. If it is not in your dock, you need to go to your hard drive, and you're going to go to Applications, and you're going to go to Adobe Photoshop CS 5.1. I believe yours is the same. This is a folder, so double click that folder, and then in there you will find the blue PS, or blue box with the PS. So you can double click it and open it from there, or you can click on it in your dock and open it from there. Now, it's a really large file. If you've not worked with Photoshop a lot, it's a large file. It's a large application. It will take a little bit for it to open, but as long as we see the blue box with the PS in it jumping down here, we know that it is loading up. So once it's started, what you're going to see across the top is you'll find that this whatever across the top will change to Photoshop. So let me click to make sure that it's there. And here it comes. Alright, so it says Photoshop across the top. The next thing it says is File. We want to go File, New, taking a little bit of time here, and it's going to come up with name. What you're going to want to name it is your full name. So I'm going to put Mrs. Sternhagen -shoe. Alright, now in this little box, what we need to do is we need to set how large our drawing paper is going to be, or how large our image is going to be. And I want you to think of that image as being drawing paper. So it might say here in the width something called pixels. Pixels are the little tiny dots of information across an image that make the image up. So each little pixel is a different color. Well, we don't normally think in pixels. We think much better in inches. So click on pixels and go to inches. And what we want to change that to is we want it to be 12 inches wide, 12 inches high, and the resolution tells us how many of those little dots are going to be in every inch. We want it to be 150 because that's what I scanned your shoe at. RGB color, 8-bit, white. Everything else looks good. So make your image or your settings match what I have here on this screen. And then click OK. And what that's going to give us then is, you may not have the ruler up here, but if you don't have the ruler, you can go to View and then put a little check mark by rulers. Mine has a check mark by it because I'm already seeing the rulers. Okay, so I'm going to just adjust that a little bit so you can see that this is the whole page. Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to put our shoe, our first shoe, on our paper. We're going to be doing 4 of these all together. So go File, or File, Place. And then we need to remember where we found that. Remember, it was in staff member, or yours is, mine's in staff member, yours is probably in students, so we want to select that, and we want to go to downloads. And there's my shoe. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to hit place. So there's my shoe drawing, but now it's got this X across the middle. That's okay for right now. So what we're going to do is just kind of grab somewhere inside that shoe, inside that box. Just don't grab right here in the middle. Grab kind of off to the side, and we're going to move it over so it's kind of close to that edge, and it's about equal space at the top, equal space at the bottom, and then you're going to hit return, and that's going to place it. It's going to set it in its place, and it's going to get rid of that X and that little box around it. Now if you notice over here, it has a little black dot or black box in here. That means right now we cannot do anything to this image. We can't change it. So we need to go up at the top, Layer, Rasterize, Layer. That means now you'll notice that little black box has disappeared, and that means that we can make changes to it. So the first change we're going to make is we're going to notice that our white paper, even though it was white paper, is a little bit different colored than our white background. Well, we want to get rid of that kind of yellowish paper that was originally there. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 tools, and it may look like this icon or it may look like the magic wand. We actually want the magic wand, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to click in that white spot, and it's got little marching ants, so it has selected all of that white background, and you're going to just hit delete. Now you'll notice it's gone. Now we need to get rid of our little marching ants. We're going to go select, deselect. So there's our first placement. But there's one more thing we need to do to it before we can go on and add more. Over in your layers palette, that's what this is called. Should say layers here, and right under the word layers, it might probably says normal. Well, we're going to click on multiply. Now, that probably doesn't make sense right now because you'll see in the next step what is actually going to happen. What I'd like to do now that I've placed this on here and I've done a couple of things to my shoe is I want to go File, Save. So we're going to save it as Mrs. Sternhagen shoe, and it'll say .psd. And you do want it to say that. Okay? Now you need to choose desktop or wherever you're going to save it. All right? And for right now I'm going to save it on my desktop. And when this maximizes, if you have this window come up, just hit OK. Alright, so now it's saved it because we don't want to lose any of the hard work that we did. Now we need to make another shoe because remember we're going to put 4 of these around the edge. So it's going to be like the bottom of the shoe is walking on the edge of the paper. Well, the easiest way to do that is to click on the layer that says shoe, click and hold, and you're going to drag down to the little icon that looks like a little 2 sheets of paper with one's got its corner turned up. Don't go to the trash can because that's going to throw it away. The one just to the left of the trash can, and then let go. You can't tell it right now. You notice that you made it a little bit darker over here, but you can't really tell that we have another shoe because it's right on top of the first shoe that we placed. But you can see in your layers palette over here that we have a shoe and a shoe copy. And you want to have it selected on shoe copy. Now we're going to go over to the move tool, which is the top tool. And now you can click and move it. And you'll notice that we can move that copy. Now see how we can see through that shoe and we're seeing the other shoe underneath? That's what that multiply command did for us. But now, how are we going to turn this shoe? We're going to go Edit, Transform, Rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. CCW. And now it rotated it around so it'll look like it's marching across the bottom of our page. We want to move it into place. Again, we want to center it side to side and put it at about the same distance from the edge of the paper as this shoe, the first shoe is. So I think that looks pretty good. Now, I want you to go File, Save. Okay, we don't have to type in all that other information because we've already saved it once. But it's very important in case something would happen, then you've saved your work and you don't have to start all over. Now you're going to do the same thing 2 more times. You're going to take, you can even take shoe or shoe copy. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to take shoe copy, click and drag down to the little sheet of paper, and now I've got another one. If I move that out, I can see that I have another one. So now I need to Edit, Transform, Rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, and now I can move it into place, centering it and making it about the same distance from the bottom. Now you'll notice how your designs are showing through on top of each other, and that's exactly what we want to have do. Now I would go File, Save. I'm going to take my shoe copy number 2, click on that, drag it down onto that new sheet of paper. I can move that one out a little bit. I can go Edit, Transform, Rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, move it into place so it's about centered side to side and about the same distance from the bottom. And I can go File, Save, and my project is done. That was very fast. And it looks really cool where the designs go through. Now, there's one more thing we need to do. Did we save that? Let's save it again. Yep, we did, because the save is gray instead of black. I want you to save it as a, right now it says a Photoshop document. That's what PSD stands for. Now I want to save it as a JPEG, like a regular picture that you can send to me. So we're going to go File, Save As. It comes up with that .psd on it. We want to go to Format down below here, and it says Photoshop. That's where it says Photoshop Document. Where it says Photoshop, we want to click and we want to go down to JPEG, JPEG, and click. Now you'll notice up here it changed to JPG. That means it's a JPEG image, and I'm going to save it. And you can click OK. You can quality 12, baseline standard, OK. And now it didn't change it up here, but it has saved it on my desktop. So now you can go ahead and close that. In fact, you can quit Photoshop because it's such a large application that it'll slow your computer down. And now you're going to go to hand it in. So you'll go to the assignments in the class, and Same Old Shoe is the name of the assignment. And what you're going to do is you're going to submit it. Now, it'll come up here with a little Submit Assignment button. You'll click that, and then you'll find your image, and you'll submit it. So if you have any questions, I think you've probably done that for other classes, but I think if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. So that's how you're going to create your shoe project and then hand it in on the assignment. You're not going to send it to me as a message. You're going to submit it as part of this assignment. And then I will be able to find it here in my speed grader. So ask if you have questions.